It had been almost 7 weeks since Manish had met me and said he had very special plans for us. I was now in all physical aspects a woman. The fat in my body was completely redistributed now. I had wide hips, beautiful breasts, a flat tummy, and my hair was just above my waist. Last night, Mrs. Sharma informed me that my training would start today. So I got up and started to freshen up and get ready for the day ahead. After I finished my bath, I opened the wardrobe. Now my wardrobe had many girl clothes. In fact, I have been wearing girl clothes from that fateful day when Manish told me that I would be pretty henceforth. I wore the bra and panties, but was in no mood to drape myself in a sari. So I wore a red top with leggings, sat in front of my dressing table and started combing my hair. Once I was done, I pulled my hair into a ponytail and came down to the dining table to have my breakfast. Mrs. Sharma was happy to see that I had woken up early and was ready for the training, without making any sort of fuss. She served me breakfast and, after finishing it, she brought out a whiteboard with the heading written Preeti's Training. She then started listing out several points on the board. After she was done, she turned towards me and said that my training to become a complete woman would start from today, and if I did not obey her, then there would be strict punishments. I was a little worried listening to that, but was actually liked it when she said I would become a complete woman. In my training, dressing up, girly behavior, girly body language, cooking would be daily tasks, and along with that there would be specific tasks for the day. Since I had already dressed up, we went on to the specific task for the day, which was cleaning and keeping the house tidy. Mrs. Sharma handed me a broom and asked me to start from the farthest room in the first floor and make my way down to finish the entire house. I had been given 90 minutes to finish this task. As instructed, I started from the farthest room on the first floor. I found it very difficult to do this, since I had never done this in my entire life. It took me almost 15 minutes to finish the first room itself. I still had the entire floor, which consisted of 4 rooms in total. I realized I had to do this faster and went on to the next room. By the time I was finished with all the rooms, Mrs. Sharma was standing near the staircase. She told me to wait and went into all the rooms to check if I had cleaned it properly. She came out and said that all the rooms were cleaned properly. I was happy to hear that, but I had already utilized my 90 minutes. Before I could say anything, she had given me a hard slap on my face. I felt the pain running through my cheek and tears filled my eyes, but she quickly gave me another slap. "You will not cry. If a woman cries, it's not good for the house," she said. I somehow controlled my tears. "Don't just stand there. Now go and finish the rest of the house," she screamed at me. Fearing another slap, I ran down the stairs and started sweeping and cleaning the rest of the house. After I was done, she again checked all the rooms to see if it was done properly. "You have done well. Now wash your hands and join me in the kitchen," she said. And I did as asked. When I went into the kitchen, she had laid out all sorts of vegetables and instructed me to chop them and clean them. Since I had never even chopped an apple before, I knew I had to be quick. And looking at the quantity and variety of vegetables, I knew it would take a lot of time. So I hesitantly asked her how much time I had to chop all these. "Oh, you silly girl, you are not in a race to chop veggies. Take your time and be careful of your fingers, don't chop them," she said with a smile. I was completely surprised listening to that. This was the same woman who had slapped me and shouted at me some time ago. And now she is being so polite and called me silly girl. It felt weird being addressed as a girl. I started off vegetables that I had seen my mother chopping and did a pretty decent job. As I was chopping, I could see her cooking our lunch and also preparing for the dinner. I don't know how long it took, but after some time, she asked to stop and checked the veggies I had chopped. She turned towards me and said, "You have done very well, Preeti," and patted my cheeks. The same one she had slapped earlier. This woman was confusing. We had our lunch together. This was the first time that Mrs. Sharma ate with me. After we finished, she said I could go and rest for some time. So I went into my room and laid down on my bed. And the first thing that came to my mind was my mother. I never helped her in any household work. She used to take care of the entire house, including me and my father. She would have been happy if I had helped her every now and then. I missed her. Without my knowledge, tears started flowing and after some time, I fell asleep. I was woken up by Mrs. Sharma, sitting next to me on my bed, and asked me to freshen up. After which, she handed me a blue sari and said, "We women have to look good for our men by the time they come home from work, no matter how much of a busy day we had." I just nodded and started to drape the sari. It took me almost 30 minutes to drape it around me. But once done, it was so perfect, and for the first time, Mrs. Sharma gave me a proper, cheerful smile. She then took me to the dressing table, made me sit down and started to show the various cosmetics. She explained to me why each thing was applied, and did my makeup and hair, and also put beautiful jhumkas in my earlobes. After this, I was taught how to walk like a woman, how to handle my sari, pleats, my pallu, my hair and all the little delicate things a woman has to take care while wearing the sari. Then I was just left to roam around the house. So I went out and just walked through the garden, just like Mrs. Sharma had taught me. I was enjoying the amazing feel of being a woman. The cool breeze blowing through my silky hair, the warmth of the evening sun on my face, the ever-present weight of my breasts, the drape of the sari which flowed with my body in every step, and the feeling of just being beautiful, amazing. After the sun had set, Mrs. Sharma came to the garden and asked me to come to the kitchen. I was asked to prepare coffee for the both of us. I knew very well how to drink coffee, but I had never prepared. She understood the look on my face and started preparing coffee for the both of us, all the while narrating how it was done. I had nothing to do for the rest of the evening. After dinner, just as I was about to leave for my room, she spoke. "You have to wake up early from tomorrow and sweep the house every day. It will be your job from tomorrow. After that, you have to clean yourself. And I expect you wear a sari. Don't make me punish you again tomorrow," she said to me. I just smiled at her and nodded my head. I came to my room, changed into my nightwear and laid down on my bed. I was very tired, but was also satisfied with how my day went. I was starting to enjoy being a woman and started to accept myself as a woman. I fell into a deep sleep with a broad smile on my face. Just like I was told, I woke up early in the morning, freshened up and got to sweeping and dusting. This time, I was done within my allotted time of 90 minutes. I was relieved that I wouldn't be getting slapped again for being slow. I quickly went into my room, took bath, and came out to see which sari I could wear. Even though there were lots of female clothes, I had few options in each variety. So I opted for a light green colored sari, which had floral prints on it, and a pink-colored blouse. I draped the sari around me, which this time took around 20 minutes. I was becoming good at draping myself in a sari. Then I did some light makeup, just combed my hair and left it loose, and headed down to the dining area to find out what was in store for me today. "Good morning, Preeti, you are looking beautiful. I am impressed," Mrs. Sharma cheerfully said as soon as she saw me. She was becoming more and more nicer and friendlier towards me, which was nice. She asked me to have my breakfast, and just as we finished it, she went to the stove to prepare coffee for us. When I intervened and asked if could prepare the coffee, she was more than happy to let me do it. I did an okay job for someone who was preparing coffee for the first time. It was only then I realized that preparing coffee was an art itself. My today's training was also related to cleaning, where I was taught how to use a vacuum cleaner and a lawnmower, and also a few things about how to maintain the garden and the plants. After that, I was made to chop veggies again today, but was a lot faster than yesterday. The next day, again it was the same routine in the morning. But after the breakfast, Mrs. Sharma called me to her and said that today we would be going shopping. Generally, any girl would jump up and down hearing the word shopping itself, but I was terrified since I was only just getting comfortable with myself in my new identity. I couldn't go out in public. What if someone would identify me, or worst, what if someone got to know that I am a guy? I bombarded her with questions. She made me sit on the chair and instructed me to take deep breaths in order for me to relax. When I was calm enough, she took me to a mirror and told me to look at my reflection. "Do you see any traces of a guy? Because I don't. All I see is a beautiful young girl in the mirror. Don't worry about anyone does anything to you. I will always be there with you, and I also know karate," she said, and both of us burst out laughing. She told me to go and wear something pretty, so that we could go out, buy a ton of clothes and all the girly stuff I need. I came to my room looking through my wardrobe, thinking what I could wear. That's when I saw it, a black dress, which ended just above my knees. I had never worn or even thought about wearing anything like that. But I wanted to now. I was a woman now, and I wanted to embrace my female self without any hesitation or fear. I removed the sari I was wearing, and wore the dress. It was like nothing I had felt before. I could feel the dress sticking to my body. When I stood in front of the mirror, I was surprised to see the curves that my body had gained now. I looked sexy and hot. I touched up the makeup I was wearing, applied a dark red lipstick and wore rings in my earlobes. I chose to wear the black heels that were there. It was the only pair of footwear I had. I was satisfied with the way I looked and headed down, where Mrs. Sharma was waiting for me. Her mouth dropped open when she saw me in that dress. I stood in front of her and did a little twirl and asked her how I looked. "Are you sure you want to wear that?" she asked. I told her that I wanted to embrace my female self with both my hands, and I was sure I wanted to wear this dress. She was happy and said I looked wonderful. A car and driver were already arranged for us, and we went to the mall. I was a little conscious of myself when we entered the mall. I breezed past the security checks without any problems and was gaining more and more confidence as we walked through the mall. I could feel the guys passing by checking me out, which was a happy and satisfying feeling. Then after roaming around for a while, we started our real shopping. Shop after shop, we just brought everything we liked. At the end of it, we had brought makeup materials, shoes, heels, flats and every other kind of footwear, accessories like handbags, clutches, purses, various kinds of earrings, jhumkas, necklaces, bracelets, bangles, rings, lots of lingerie, saris for both daily use and special occasions, dresses, tops, jeans, formal clothes, lehengas, fancy chudidars, kurtis, leggings, t-shirts, jeans, nightwear etc. While we were doing this, we also had our lunch together and just chatted about random topics. By the time we reached home, it was early in the evening. A little later, a tailor came in to take my measurements for the blouses and any other stitching work that was required for my new purchases. Later on, Mrs. Sharma helped me to arrange all my purchases in my wardrobes. At the end of the day, I was exhausted, but was very happy with how the day went. And also made a mental note to thank Manish when I saw him again for spending so much money on me. And also would ask him why he was spending so much money on me anyway. Because as per him, my father had cheated him. There were so many questions about Manish that I still needed answers for, but for now I slept.